Hey guys, I just got back from IMTS 2024, and while I was there, I shot a live on-camera version of our Lean Built podcast. So if you haven't yet checked it out, look in the description below for a link to your favorite podcast player. Let's get started.
Good morning, Jay. We are recording live at the Toolpath booth at IMTS 2024. How's your show going, Jay?
It's going amazing. I got here Sunday night, kind of hoofed it around the city, kind of doing some sightseeing. Monday morning, just hit the ground running hard. My feet were barking at the end of the day.
Comfortable footwear.
So it was crazy because I ended up walking the floor and I went, oh my gosh, it's like 5, 6 o'clock because we had a Toolpath meetup in the lounge back here behind their booth. And I realized I forgot to eat lunch and I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
And then we went to dinner and then I went back to the hotel room. I went, wow, this is the first time I've used the bathroom all day, like at 9 o'clock at night. It was crazy.
Your kidneys are crying.
Yeah. They're like, what are you doing to me? What did I do wrong? But no, the show, the energy, just talking to the people that were here in 2022, which I was not, said it's night and day difference.
It really is. 2022 felt very subdued. Everybody was in the thick of the after effects of the initial COVID disruptions. Supply chains were crazy.
Yep.
Everybody, it was not nice. It felt depressed.
Yeah. One of the guys I talked to said, yeah, a lot of the people that are coming internationally just were flat out not there.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see it like back to normal. It feels like back to normal since the last time I was here, 2018. It feels the same to me.
Yeah.
So
I've been enjoying the show. I've been looking at some small 5-axis machines. I brought 4 of my employees with me. We've been spreading out, checking out a bunch of different things. I like a lot of the mid-tier automation we're seeing where robots are loading pallets onto machines instead of just loading parts or having big pallet systems loading entire tables.
Yep.
So that's really interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of small shops move in that direction. If we did that right now and purchased that system, it wouldn't get us to unattended 24/6 or 24/7 production. We don't even need that at the moment.
Yeah.
But if we could invest in a system that got us more walkaway time during the day, and got us a few hours of unattended operation every night as after shift ends, the machine runs for 4 more hours.
Yeah.
That would make a significant impact in our overall throughput, our profitability, and the ROI on that kind of system is great. And it looks like a lot of those systems are relatively scalable. If you're going to buy a big, like a Doosan 40 pallet pool, you got to buy that whole thing all at once.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with a much smaller sheet metal assembly with an 80/20 rack inside it, and you can add more pallet stations as you go and just make sure the robot knows where they are, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I specifically was looking at the Doosan TBF 5000 with it's a 40 state. How many? Well, it doesn't matter. But it's a multi-tiered small pallet, like a 9-inch square pallet. And I'm like, yeah, you need to do that. Even though you only have like maybe a use for 10 or 20 pallets, just go big because you should, if you're doing business right, you should be able to grow into that and scale into that capability.
As long as you have the cash flowing to be able to carry the cost of that until you've grown into it.
Very true, yeah. And that's a new thing because for a long time, money was so cheap that cash didn't need to necessarily flow.
Yeah.
And you could just get it anyways. I mean, Haas is about the only one. Like my RPL robot pallet loader. I got 0% for 5 years just cause. And it's like $1,000 payment. It's fine. Let's just do it. It's so cheap. Let's just bring it on. And then they're I don't know if I should say this, but but I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I'm gonna say it anyway. So it's one wall up to 15 pallets. And eventually I asked them, hey, can I expand this? And they said, yes, it's right now it's a software limitation. Okay. And so we can do another wall that's adjacent but 90 degrees apart. And so we can go to 30 essentially. And I'm like, great. That's all I want to know, expandability.
So for me, as I'm looking at machines here, we're trying to rule out certain 5-axis machines that have looked good on paper, that are in the approximate price range we're looking for, and really get hands on the machine, see what the doors feel like, see what the load heights are like, see what the visibility inside the machine is like, all the things that you can't really tell until you're in front of the machine. And even with those robotic pallet systems, Brother has their new Flex 3 system, which is very similar. It's a multi-axis robot. It's loading off 2 sides of a square inside a sheet metal valve cell. But the details of where the access door is, how many of the parts are visible to the operator from outside the machine, how hard is it to look inside the cell and see how many positions are done and how many positions are raw stock, and then understand the ergonomics of what the load unload station is going to be like. Even I was looking at the DVF 5000 Gen 2 at the Doosan booth yesterday, and one of the things that the guy who was showing us the machine pointed out was that at the pallet load unload station on the Gen 1, the base that your pallet was sitting on was locked. You could not free rotate it at all at the load station.
Okay.
On the Gen 2, it is partially free turning, which means if you have a pallet that has multiple stations on it,
Right.
and you need to rotate it to get, Allen key or torque wrench access to the third little vise, you can do that more easily. It's like, well, I would never see that in a brochure.
Yeah, no way.
But the second I put my hand on the machine and go, oh, this would make a difference to my operators, immediately.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it after installation, the tech's still there, and you're like, how do you rotate this? It doesn't rotate. Wait,
what do you mean it doesn't rotate?
So it's one of those surprises.
All those little things, control height, layout, labeling the buttons, which things light up on the control when the machine's running, really getting a sense for what does it taste like to be in front of this machine running it. IMTS is phenomenal for that. I can be looking at a machine and see something on one machine and go, I didn't think to check that on the other machine. What is that like? And then 5 minutes later, I can be at the other booth looking at that other machine and saying, hey, can you show me the tool loading door? Like, if I have a tool that fails tool breakage detection, does it automatically come back to this unload position? Or do I have to locate it in the carousel and call it to the unload position? How does that work?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things that we're going to have to deal with. Being able to actually put hands on the machine is so valuable. So I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
My feet are a little sore. I do need to walk slower.
So I'll tell you this is day 3 for me. I know it's still early, but it gets easier. Like your body acclimates to it. I remember the first time that I worked like a full 8 hours in front of a machine when I was first starting, and I was dying. I'm like, why doesn't, like, in our shop, no one sits down.
Yeah.
We're just always standing.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And by the end of the week, I'm like, oh, I got this. It's kind of that whole thing again. As an owner walking a trade show, your body acclimates to it.
Yeah, you pace yourself. And I've had a number of very pleasant conversations with people I had never met in person before, some of whom listen to this podcast. Actually, one, weirdly enough, one is the friend of a friend of mine. And it turns out that we all three grew up in roughly the same area in Western New York. And he found out about our podcast through one of his coworkers, who's the brother of one of my friends.
Wild.
All these weird connections. And it was great. His name was Jack Wilson. And I ended up sitting down with him yesterday, or standing and leaning on a wall with him yesterday, talking for a bit. And he's a third generation manufacturing worker in Buffalo, New York. And Buffalo is an amazing city. Absolutely historic, big steel mills. It was a boom town. It drew tons of industry and manufacturing, all this stuff. And then, like a lot of the big cities in the Rust Belt in Western New York, it just cratered due to outsourcing.
Wow.
But looking at that and talking to a guy who's, I think he's younger than me, and seeing that he has a passion for adopting new technologies and creating good paying jobs that are humane. Even when Rochester and Buffalo were booming, those jobs were really hard on people.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like the sort of look back in the golden past, 1950s and 60s, you work for the company. The company has a doctor, you have free healthcare, they provide food. Like, yeah, but a lot of people got injured on those jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of people ended up with debilitating, just their bodies wore out and got wrecked. And we want a more humane future for the next generation of American workers.
So I'm pretty sure in a previous podcast, I talked about Henry Ford's biography.
Yep.
And in that, he created all these jobs for men that were blind, men that had one arm, men that had no legs. He doesn't go into why they were missing parts of their body, but it could have been like on-the-job injuries or maybe wartime injuries, those types of things. But yeah, it's good. Like those companies that go, okay, we're doing the what, we know the how, the why, where we really take care of our people like that. It's encouraging to know that back then that was starting to happen. I mean, for today, if you're a modern manufacturer and you're not focused in on the well-being of your employees, I'll just say it, you're just doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, it's not about making money. It's about creating an environment for people to work where they're just thriving in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
So.
And that isn't to say that we have to have a utopian vision where the company becomes the family and everyone loves each other and, nothing at work is ever hard and nobody ever goes home tired. I go home tired a lot. I expect everyone to work hard, but we don't want to work hard on things that could be easier.
Right.
We want to make them as easy as they can be and then work hard at them. on easy mode
Mm-hmm.
and then create exponentially greater results.
Yeah.
Because we dialed down the difficulty,
Like-
and then we still go at it hard.
Right. For us, we want to take, wow, this is hard. Does that bug you? Okay, great. Let's make it easier so that you go home and you have some margin.
Yeah, if you go home with less physical strain, less mental strain, you'll be there for your partner, there for your kids.
Yep.
Be able to just have a life.
Right.
We want that.
Yeah. That's what this job is trying to create, like the
But-
holistic approach to the human.
But that requires that we also run the companies in a very, very lean and profitable way, because it's expensive to have a lot of people on staff. Machines are costly. Equipment wears out, breaks down, has to be rebought or replaced or refurbished. The burn rate of money in a company, in a manufacturing company. But talking to Jack, what was really exciting to me is his company's, the company he works in now, he's the grandson.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some customers for over 50 years.
That's crazy.
And
What a legacy, though.
and to say, that's an unbelievable opportunity to market your company, to market your brand, because we are in Buffalo. Buffalo has changed. We have changed. We're still here. We're still manufacturing in America, American creativity, American hard work in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now, could he employ everyone in Buffalo who needs a job? No, his business would never scale to that size.
Yeah.
But being able to say, we're not a small startup. We're not a brand new thing that is a fly by the seat of our pants, might be gone in 6 months. We've been here serving our same customers for over 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we've navigated every disruption,
Yeah.
every market downturn.
Yeah.
We made it through the
Political
outsourcing.
swings,
We made it
wars,
through
all that
we made
stuff.
it through 2008. We made it through COVID.
Right.
We're still here. We're still creating jobs. We're still investing.
Yeah.
And they have 5-axis machining. They're looking at other things they can be doing. But it was really exciting to me to hear that.
That's cool.
And I think he's got a phenomenal opportunity and a really cool business to work in.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because you mentioned the podcast. That the first day, because people, they'll stop to just meet me, say hi, that type of stuff. I would say that at least, more than half of the people said, yeah, man, they would start off with, I'm a podcast listener. To me, having a YouTube channel, I'm like, that's mildly frustrating. Because
I'm sorry.
But it speaks to the impact of the podcast.
Yep.
So we've been doing YouTube for 7-ish years, got lots of content on that out like millions of views over time.
Yep.
But the podcast, it's relevant, it's fresh, it's now, and that had a big impact. So I'm just thrilled that this podcast is getting the traction.
It's connecting to people who are coming to IMTS.
That's true. That's true.
I don't watch YouTube videos while I'm working.
True.
I can listen to podcasts
Yeah.
when I'm commuting or when I'm doing certain kinds of jobs.
Yeah.
If I'm just feeding a machine and I'm going to be there for the next 2 hours just loading parts, which isn't that often, I can turn on a podcast. But when I'm doing any of my work, I can't watch a YouTube video. And so probably our podcast skews more heavily toward solopreneurs, founders, small shop owners.
Right. Yeah.
And that's who you're going to see here at IMTS.
Yeah. And it's really two different types of media. So a short video for us is under 5 minutes. A short podcast for us is
35 minutes.
35 minutes.
Yeah.
So you just have that longer engagement. But so you have a plan. I love that you delegated different roles and responsibilities to your team.
Yeah.
That's a great strategy. We didn't talk about that last time. We kind of did.
So a quick breakdown. I've got Sean, Nick, Chris, and Eric with me. Chris is my lead machinist and programmer. Nick is my lead additive guy in shop. Sean and Eric are both full-time product development and designer guys who are out of state. They're remote employees.
The Ohio guys.
The Ohio guys.
Okay.
And so Sean is really interested in material science and software, has experience in injection molding, and has done a whole bunch of things that I've never done. He's digging into software. He's looking at mold design things. He's researching a whole area of things that I don't have any interest in or expertise in. I can't evaluate them.
Yeah.
Chris is my go-to guy for helping us evaluate 5-axis stuff because he's going to be the main person programming it.
Sure.
I need to understand the machine. I need to be able to justify the ROI and the cost on the machine, but I'm not going to be the lead on that machine. Nick and Eric do a lot of our 3D printing. Eric is remote, but he and Nick have built a lot of our basic slicer recipes, have worked through a lot of our standardized our process around drying filament and cycling through filaments. And there's a whole bunch of things that those two have done together. So the three of us are going to hit additive because we want to look at anything that could be impactful for our shop's ability to make quick, good quality prints. And both Sean and Eric have duplicate printing setups. When we hired them on, we bought them exactly the same printers we had so that they would be able to, anything we needed to print, if they needed to handle it, they could print the exact thing. We supply them with filament. We have shared recipes in all of our slicers because we want that ability to standardize. So we're going to look and say, anything here in additive that you see that we could leverage to do more stuff, better stuff, let's get it.
So I had a realization because you guys are Bamboo printer.
Yes.
People, he can be in Ohio, print locally. Okay, I'm going to send this to Andrew for approval and then remotely start a printer in your shop.
Yeah, we don't do any remote printer starting in the shop. We could.
Yeah.
But the thing that what we often have a mix of short prints and long prints running in the shop. We have 3 Bamboos. We're probably going to get a 4th one just to have a spare.
Yeah.
Although it won't be spare for long. All of them have the AMS system on it. So we have a mix of colors, and we normally have PLA and PLA CF loaded up. At least one spool of CF on each machine. So at any time we need a high strength print, we're normally not as concerned about color at that point.
Right.
Any available machine can make that print.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't want would be somebody remotely dropping an 8-hour print onto a machine in our shop at noon on a weekday.
Right.
When I was working on something that I was planning to print later that day.
Okay, so it's based on scheduling. That's the issue. It's not technical or anything.
No, it's not technical. It's just to make sure that if we have something we want to make, because I printed something last week where Josh came to me with an idea. I quickly catted something up. It took 17 minutes to print.
Yeah.
If the machines had all been tied up because somebody else was dropping work on them remotely, I'd be like, sorry, Josh, I can't do that till tomorrow, or I have to cancel this print that's already 4 hours in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I've phoned home saying, hey boys, turn on the printer, make sure the bed is clear, and look out. I'm going to print something.
Yep.
And so that I start that at noon, and when I get home, around dinner time, it's done, and I can put it in my hands.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great leverage. Right.
So I think we need to wrap pretty quick.
Yeah.
The podcasting booth here at Toolpath is awesome.
Man,
so
it's cooking. It's like
to their
never
whole crew.
empty. It's crazy.
It's
You'll
awesome.
see. Yeah.
I hope to see this at every IMTS from here out. It's a great opportunity for people to come together, hang out, talk, hop on mic, and have a great time.
Yeah.
So we're grateful for the opportunity. Enjoy IMTS. If you're here, if you see me or Jay, please do stop us and say hello. Depending on where we're going and what we have next, we might not be able to stop and chat for long.
Yeah.
But we would love to meet you. And if you listen to the podcast, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. And thank you so much for listening. It means a lot to us.
Have a great day.
See ya.